All right, how I use reference for 3D animation. Let me jump right to it. I'm gonna play the one on the left, which is the reference. Then I'm gonna play the animation, and I'm gonna talk to you about my process of how I go about that. All right, here's the first one. Boom. Wop. Wop. Ha, ha, ha. There was some cars and stuff coming too, so I was like, I gotta be careful. Wop, wop. So I'm pretty much, getting the feel of it. All right, now we have the actual animation. Play that again. All right, so the key to using reference for animation, 2D or 3D, the key is not copying exactly what you see here on the reference. It's not rotoscoping. You don't want to do that, or at least that's not what I do, and that's not how I was taught, and it's not what I learned from the professionals. The key is that you want to understand what's going on, because what that's going to do is going to build a mental library for you of understanding how the body moves. So when you do other animations, you don't always need reference. You'll have a memory of body mechanics. So you don't want to just say, okay, he's doing this, I'm doing this at this pose, okay, let me copy that. Like, you don't want to sit here, take this into the 3D program, put your character in front of this and just copy that. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to look at things like what moves first, right? So right here, I could see that the center mass, my hips, right here, I can see that slowly moving forward. Both swords are being lifted up, right? I'm looking at that type of stuff. I'm looking at the principles of animation within this reference, which I'll show in a minute. But I'm looking at what's leading first. So it looks like my center of mass is leading, right? Then look at my hand here. Look how the sword is dragging back. This is the type of stuff you want to look for. Then, as that's dragging back, I'm looking at my foot, right? How long it takes for it to come off of the ground. What it's doing, is it how it's churning. What this foot is doing as it's planted. Is there a pivot? You can see a slight pivot in the foot. But these are things that I'm looking for, all right? I'm looking for what's moving first, what's following through. I'm looking at how the body rotates. I'm like, okay, this foot is off the ground. Right here is when this foot starts to pivot. And then this foot lands. And then I'm like, okay, the swing happened, right? The strike. So bam, right there, the strike happened. The foot hasn't landed on the ground yet. Then boom, right there, the foot lands. And my center of mass is still moving. So my center of mass is still slowly following through. All body mechanics. That's what I'm looking for. This is the type of stuff I'm looking for when I'm looking at reference. Then I'm like, oh, okay, now this center of mass looks like it's leading again, right? My hip area, when I say center of mass, we're talking about the core of your body, which is right here in the pelvis area. I'm like, all right, now that's leading forward. This foot comes off the ground. And this sword is churning a little bit. It's still kind of dragging, right? That strike happens. Once again, the foot hasn't touched the ground. The strike happened. Strike happened first. Foot is following through second. Foot lands. Center of mass is catching itself. My weight, catching my weight, sitting into it. this is what I'm looking for, y'all. When I'm doing anime, whenever I record reference, I'm looking for that. The second thing I'm thinking about when I record reference is, one of the second things is timing. So let's play this whole thing. When I consider time, I think about the timing in my head before I even hit shoot on the camera. So the timing I had for this was whop whop, slam, whoop, shwa, like that, right? So let's go into that timing. Whop whop, slam, whoop, shwa. Let's play this other one. I think this one's cleaner. So, whop, whop. And I usually get both sides too. Ram, slam, whop. I usually get both sides. You also want to think about your staging. So I was thinking about this as like a fighting game. So you can see the camera angle. You know, it's a 2D camera angle. I was like, all right, fighting game or Devil May Cry. You know, you slashing the enemy from this perspective. Fighting game like freaking Soul Calibur or something. And so I was thinking about my camera shot as well when I was recording the reference. That's very important, because if you record a camera shot like this, but your game is in an isometric Diablo style, you're not going to get the correct, accurate view that you need for your animation piece. So that's one of the third things is staging. Pretty much everything in the principles of animation, which right now, let me bring that up for you guys. So I always usually have this next to me when I'm working and I'm doing animation. I have the 12 principles of animation up on my computer, like on my second monitor somewhere, chilling in the corner next to like my graph editor and all that stuff. And so right here, I've made like a little, you know, sheet for myself from, you know, just images on the web and stuff. So all of these I'm considering, y'all, when I'm looking at the reference. Like right now, I just told you guys staging, right? Thinking about the staging. I just told you guys about follow through and overlap. What moves first? What moves last? What's following through? Timing, I just talked about that. You're pretty much looking at all the principles of animation in the reference, and you're looking at the body and what the body is doing, you know, so you could get like the correct weight and things. And then from there, you will be able to do what? You'll be able to exaggerate. You'll be able to put character appeal on it and all that stuff. You can still get character appeal through your reference as well. When you're acting out, that comes with, you know, great acting. But yeah. So back to this. So yeah, like I said, like right here, another thing you're looking at from our principles of animation is you are looking at, hold on, I think one of these, I think I got, okay, cool. I had two windows up. My bad, guys. All right. So you're looking at solid drawing, good poses, right? So right here on this swing, this one right here, right? So you can see here, actually me looking at this, looking back on this, I'm like, my pose here is better than the pose that I did in the animation, because the reason why I say so is that there's contrast. And like, if you were to silhouette this, right? I don't think you would exactly know what's going on if you silhouette it. Like if it was just black and white, you should be able to silhouette your poses and be like, oh yeah, like this character is about to swing something. So right here, I'm looking at the solid drawing pose and good posing. So here I'm looking at the asymmetrical legs, right? I'm looking at how this one's bent down and goes out, how this one's bent down and forward like that, what my spine is doing, And we also have something that's called line of action in drawing. So with the line of action from my head to this foot, to the bottom of like right here where the toe is, what the line of action is doing. What the line of action is doing from here down to this foot up to the head. And what the arms are doing. If I was a black and white silhouette myself right now, I'd be like, oh yeah. Like I said, about to swing something. But anyway, that's another thing you're looking for. Is you're looking for the poses, and you know, from there you'll be able to exaggerate the pose, like right here with Bugs Bunny. You'll be able to exaggerate that. So for him, I could have like maybe broken his spine a bit, you know. That's something we do a lot in animation. We'll break limbs to sell a pose or to sell a hit or anything like that. So that's another thing that you want to look for in your reference, or that I look for when I'm recording reference. So let's go through this. Whoop, whoop. Once again, swing happens, right? And I'm looking at, okay, on contact, this foot is still in contact with the street. Look at that line of action from the head down to this foot. Boom. Same thing, line of action from this knee bending down to this foot, up here to the head. And then you have the arms from here to the head, arms out, boom, boom. From here to the legs. All of that stuff is what I'm looking at. And I say, oh, okay. When the follow through starts happening, my center of mass from the swing, my arms swung. And from the swing of my arms, it's carrying my body forward. My body, my center of mass is following through after the arm swung. Following through. And then look what that arm is doing, right? When I swing that foot over, the arm, and this right here is anticipation. Because this is anticipating for the next hit. Boom. Foot catches, right? Foot catches. Center mass sits down. See my butt sitting down into that. Plant my feet, shift my weight. That's another thing you're looking for. That's a big one. Shifting your weight, watching where the weight shifts from foot to foot. So right here, the weight is on this foot. As this foot comes around, this foot lands, weight shifting over into this foot. Boom, that foot lands, weight shifting onto that, to this foot now. And we're still in the anticipation for the next hit. So, wow. And I'm looking at how long for anticipations. That's the next thing. I'm looking at how long I'm sitting in anticipation. So, you know, I'll do things like I'll count. I'll say, all right. Wow, boom. I'll start from like right here. I'm like, okay, let me see how many frames I'm sitting in this anticipation until the next hit. So I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So about 26 frames. Let's see. Let's look here. Now it may be different because, all right. So we right here, right? Let's see here. Right here. This is about the same, right? All right. So let's see how long it takes from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Woo! So as you can see, and this is perfectly fine, right? I exaggerated the anticipation if you want to sell it longer. You ever seen in it, like, I would think about like Teen Titans when Slade would jump in the air to hit Robin or one of the Titans. He'd be like, he's a, Hold on. We're gonna switch the camera like this. Like Slade, he would jump in the air. He would be like, like, now, of course, we all seen that in anime and cartoons. Well, it doesn't take him that long, right? But they're selling the anticipation of the action. So, like, that's what I'm doing right here on the anticipation of this piece. All right, so anticipation. What else we got? Let's see. Let's look at our principles. Pose to pose and straight ahead. That pose to pose and straight ahead is pretty straightforward. I knew my key poses before I got started. I knew that my first key pose would be my idle pose. A next key pose would be an anticipation pose, contact pose, follow through pose. And then the same thing all the way through. Anticipation. Well, for the next hits is always anticipation to contact to follow through. So right here, boom. This right here is an anticipation. Anticipation, contact, follow through. And when I was animating this piece, those are the poses that I'm putting in. And then I'm straight aheading everything else, which is, you know, from, let's say from here, from the anticipation to the contact, that's where I'm like, okay, if I need to add frames and stuff, if I need to push the arm back a little further and all that, my reference is going to help me with, you know, with when those things are happening. So like I said, once again, it is to have an understanding of what's happening, how it's happening, where it's happening, when, etc. Why. I said why already, right? Yeah. All right. So let's see. Anything else on here? Secondary action, of course, you're looking for. I don't know if I have any secondary actions in here. Stab. Secondary action can be, if I did have a hoodie on the character, you look at things like with the hood, see how the hood swung over, stuff like that. Now what I will say is that, let's see here. Ooh, I love this baseball swing, by the way. So as you can see with this pose, I pushed that pose. I pushed this pose. Let's see, that pose is right here. Yeah, I gave him a baseball, like he's doing a pitch and he's about to throw the ball, but I gave him like a wind up, like hitting the bat. I think that's what I was thinking. So I made him wind up with it, wind his foot up, and then boom and swing that, right? So hold on, let me turn this mic down. Mic down. Test. Okay. So yeah, that was also something that, you know, pretty much I think I said already. And I think I went pretty much through all this. Arcs, yes. So arcs is, you could kind of see how, I'm gonna skip this song. All right. So arcs is, you're looking for the end of the sword. The end of the sword, like right here. You're looking for the arc of where that's moving. On both swords. You can also look for arcs on the legs, on the feet. Any arcs that the foot is creating. So on the sword, it's kind of the camera is, I don't know how to on the camera, but you're looking, that's what you're looking for here. So that's why I have arcs here from Smash Brothers on the sword swings. And arcs can be like with the smashing of a fist, right? Arcs don't only have to be with a weapon. It can be with, you know, if I go like this, if I go like that and point my finger, it's making an arc. Like if I go like that, or if I slam my fist on the table, it's creating an arc. Like if you think of the top of my fist down, that's creating an arc. So that squash and stretch as well. Yes, pretty much all the principles of animation, y'all. Squash and stretch. All right, so basically with squash and stretch, I'm looking at my body. Squash down. My leg. What my leg is squashing and stretching, my body squashing and stretching, like right here. This was a squash and stretch. Stretch up, squash, stretch. And you can see like that up down movement from my center of mass, my pelvis. Squash down, stretch up. And I'm looking at everything in my body that's doing this principle. What's squashing and stretching on my body? Like right here, you can see that my leg is stretched out right here. My arms are stretched out. And from here, my arms are squashed, right? Boom, stretched out. Comes here. I'm really squashed right there. Look at that. Squash down. Bam. Swing. Stretch out. Land. Squash. Stretch again. So yeah. Squash and stretch, y'all. So I think I got just about everything in here. You basically want to look at the principles of animation. The 12 principles, these are all 12 principles. And you basically want to look at the 12 principles of animation in your reference. And you want to understand how the body is moving mechanically through each one. And that's what I look for when I'm doing reference. Like I said, I do not rotoscope, which is put the video in the software and just put the character on top and just copy it. There will be times where you're in a game studio and you have to come up with something quick, and you're not gonna have time to, you know, keep looking at reference and stuff like that, or record or get them to record. Sometimes you have like, all right, look, you know, I remember I have that mental library of how this looks. I have that mental library of how this moves, and I understand how body mechanics of how this moves and weight and everything like that. So, you know, you'll be able to crack stuff out quickly. Now, using reference is not a bad thing, but you do want to have understanding of the body. And so that, y'all, is how I use animation reference for animation. I think that's it. If I think of anything else, I'll drop it in the comments. Make sure you hit the like button if you like the video, and comment on this video. If you have any questions or anything for me, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. So I'll catch y'all later. Peace, love, and blessings. Done with that. Boom.